What's up YouTube? What's up world? It's your boy Marky Mark back with another video on Blyden Vlogs. Alright, so from the time I did my what is most popular video on YouTube, I was planning to do a follow-up video to that, which I actually never got to make. And since then I've gotten real busy. And I decided instead to do a pros and cons video of living in the US Virgin Islands. So I hope you guys enjoy the things that I've come up with. This is my personal pros and cons. It has come out right now to be about 5 pros and 5 cons. Try to even it out. I might actually even throw in an extra pro in there for you guys. It'll be, once again, as mentioned, the pros and cons of living in Virgin Islands. Now, aside from back in the days, more people used to be coming from Dung Island to move to the Virgin Islands, but more recently is a lot of more stateside people from the US mainland who have been moving down here to the Virgin Islands. So I'm looking at just giving you a few, once again, pros and cons of living in the US Virgin Islands. First up, and I have my list on here to go by. First up, the first pro that I like to start with is actually going to be the people, which I'm going to actually want to reference as the island vibes, because you know, people cool like your boy, cool and fly like your boy, you know what I mean, have good attitudes and so forth. As I say, most of the people, let me add in there, most of the people are very friendly. And living down here in the Virgin Islands, I could even just, if my car is not working for whatever reason, or I need a ride to go into town, because I live on the western end of the island of St. Thomas. If I want to catch a ride into town, all I have to do is actually go down to the bottom of my driveway, and I don't even in some cases have to put thumbs up. There are some cases where I'm waiting for somebody to come pick me up, and a lot of people would stop by, just say, hey, you need a ride into town? And it's that easy. I mean, the people, once again, are that friendly and would give you a ride into town. Even now, in these times when we're going through COVID and so forth. Of course, wear your mask and be safe. So I want to push that out there for you. But as I mentioned, one of the best pros of the Virgin Islands is that the people are generally friendly and they like to help you out and so forth. And even if it's somebody who doesn't even know you would be more than willing to give you a helping hand if you're looking for directions or anything like that. Anyone part of the general public will be more than happy to help you in resolving your quandary, whatever it may be. All right, so next up, so it'll be the first con I like to mention is actually going to be healthcare. Healthcare in the Virgin Islands is very, very expensive. And if you have a choice, if you do have actually insurance with your employer, you're going to want to, 9 times out of 10, let me put it this way, 9 times out of 10, what you want to do is select an option where that insurance provider provides you with an option where you could be flown off island in case of an emergency. I unfortunately have been here, even in the emergency room, in the case that someone was brought in for emergency, and it was a terrible emergency because we don't have like special like burn units and different things down here, which is a negative being that we live in an island. So that's a con. And the healthcare down here, sad to say, it's better that you get healthcare elsewhere, especially off island on the mainland. And most of the insurance providers do provide, or they do actually have air ambulatory services, which they would fly you out depending on the, I guess, the seriousness of your situation. That you end up in an emergency. Unfortunately, a couple years ago, I actually saw, and it might still be there on Google, I'm not sure. I actually saw a review on Google of the St. Thomas Schneider Regional Hospital where someone said, please, if you're on the island of St. Thomas and you're in an ambulance, you better pray that your ambulance is not headed here. So there, it got a pretty, the Schneider Hospital here in St. Thomas, got a pretty bad or low rate, and I'm not sure about the hospital that's on St. Croix. As far as I know, there's a tiny little clinic on the island of St. John, and of course, due to the seriousness of your situation, they would actually have to bring you over to St. Thomas Hospital, Royal Leicester Schneider Hospital on St. Thomas for treatment. Okay, going back to another pro, for living in the Virgin Islands. That will be the beaches. Wherever you are on the island, any one of the islands, a beach is most likely within a 5 to 10 minute walk or drive from wherever you live. Closest beach to me is right down the hill. I go down my driveway and in 10 minutes I'm at the closest beach to my house, which is Stumpy Bay. And the beaches, as you can see from most of my videos, are very beautiful. I'll also put up a little image here to show you some of the beaches. I've been to most of the beaches on the island, and my hope is by the end of the year to actually travel to every single beach on the island and showcase them. I'm also looking at doing a top 10 beaches, so be looking out for that video when it comes out, all right? So moving on to the next con. Being that we live on the islands, we're waterlogged. The con I would call is island fever, and that basically is especially for people who have lived away for a good part of your life, and you living on an island, and it plays a way into mental health also. Of living on an island, you want to get away at a certain point. You just want to get away from the island and be off the island and just be free, more or less. So one of the cons is you would oftentimes get island fever, or if you grew up someplace off island, you would get homesick probably too and want to travel away. Even though we are living in a tourist destination and lots of things to do, so you don't get bored or whatever. Well, lots of things for people like me because I'm very adventurous. You would get sometimes island fever and want to move off the island and be able to move about and be free. And then of course, at the end of it all, you come back and you're much relaxed and so forth, and you could go from there. The third thing that I'll mention in terms of pro is going to be the awesome and magnificent views we have here on the islands, whether it is St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. Someone asked me the other day on a previous blog, the same one, 10 things to know before moving to the Virgin Islands, which one is my favorite out of all the islands. And out of all the 3 islands, some people do say sometimes 4, which it would include Water Island. My favorite island, personally, is going to be St. Croix, because St. Croix has a mixture of both. You could have nice quiet and leisure time, and then you could go to some of the hot spots and party and so forth at some of the clubs on St. Croix. If you want to party hardy, which was my life in my early 20s, yeah, St. Thomas is a place for you to be. If you want pure rest and relaxation, you could go to St. John. That would be the #1 island, or even more seclusion would be Water Island, which does have some beautiful beaches and beautiful sights as well. So, of course, while I'm doing this part, I'm going to be showcasing different locations on the island. I'm going to be putting up the little pictures or videos in the little blocks so you can see, and the awesome views that we have here on the Virgin Islands, or in the Virgin Islands. Okay, the next negative is going to be the traffic. The island, I promise you, like every household have at least 2 cars, really. And I know, like me myself, I have 2 cars also parked in this driveway. Most people have 2 cars. You do and would need a vehicle if you live in the island, #1, but the traffic is horrible wherever you're going. One of the main reasons is too, and I heard a tourist actually mention it, is that every time they come, there's always construction going on somewhere on the island. For some reason, well, not some reason, I know, they like to extend their projects due to the fact that it means more money. But they always, I've never seen a place where it takes so long to get a simple construction project done, man. We're living in the States, they used to get some tremendous projects done in like months. Here, years. Like I'm going to mention the one intersection by Niski Center is going on 2 or probably 3 years now that they've been working on that little, less than a quarter of a mile little stretch, okay, to get done, and they can't get it done as yet. So that causes a situation with the traffic, plus the situation with how many people are driving. They might have 3 people living in a household, all of them each have a car, and they're working in the same general vicinity, but still they'll take their own car to go to work that day instead of carpooling. We in the VI, we really don't know anything about carpooling. Well, we know about it, we just don't do it. So because of that, traffic is really bad here on the islands. The only time I've actually seen it real light and nice was at the beginning when we had the lockdown for COVID-19. Man, it was smooth sailing everywhere you wanted to go, man. You could have gotten there. And that's how I feel it should have been. But once again, it ain't up to me. And as I mentioned, everybody wants to drive their car where they want to go to. So traffic is really horrible. So you have to get a lot of patience, because I've seen a lot of road rage incidents here on the island too. Moving to the next we're going to be talking about lots of places to go hiking and do water activities. Of course, we're on an island, so we are surrounded by water. So there are a lot of activities you can take part in terms of the water activities, and even going hiking, as you've seen on my videos. What I'm trying to do, once again, as I mentioned, is go to almost every beach that I can go to on each of the islands. I'm getting ready to go over to St. Croix too, and feature some of those beaches and places to go over on St. Croix. But there are lots of places you can go and hike to, get in your good exercise and so forth. And even when I'm doing my listing and my rankings, I'm gonna, in terms of how hard it is to do that particular hike, I'm gonna rate them in light, medium, or hard. All right. So the next negative is going to be shipping. Yeah, that's actually a big one for me. Living on an island, of course, everything has to be shipped here, either by flown in by air or by sea. And the bigger item you have, of course, you'd want to have it shipped in. And it's the smaller items, depending what it is, and how fast you want to get it here. You could use USPS, which is the most efficient, well, in terms of spending your money to get it shipped here. And then you have the express service providers, which we do have DHL, UPS, USPS, as mentioned, and FedEx. And all of them are pretty about the same. You could shop around and see who has the lowest price, but I think all of them are basically around the same general price for shipping items here. But a lot of times it takes long for stuff to get here. I've ordered some stuff from like Atlanta and it's gone all the way up to New York before coming on all the way down here. Sometimes stuff that I've ordered have gone all over the world. The most important thing too, which I don't like, why this is a con, is because there are a lot of places when you order on Amazon or on eBay that it basically, in ordering from those places, it's like they see the USVI as being international. So a lot of places don't ship here and it's bad. So 9 times out of 10, I have to ship it to an address on the US mainland and then have it forwarded from that address on the US mainland down here. And that really sucks. That takes time out and in most cases costs an additional shipping fees to ship the item down here. So that's really a con that I don't like. That's one of my pet peeves, man, of living down here. I just hate that, really. I don't even know if you would call that a pet peeve. What do you call that, a pet peeve? Yeah, but I really dislike that. That's a big con of mine of living down here, trying to get stuff shipped down here in a timely manner. And if you want to get it down here soon or fast, you have to spend some moolah to get it down here in a timely manner. All right, so moving on to the next to the next pro. And that will be, diversity melting pot. It kind of goes back into the people at the Virgin Islands. We're made up of a conglomerate of people from everywhere, all over the world. I've met people from like different states, even from China and different places all around the world, from Europe, who live here now, and they call the US Virgin Islands their home. And I like it because, once again, it's just a mixture, as we would call a melting pot of different cultures and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to food, which I mentioned is a segue into another con, they don't have that much different cuisine. Like I would like to, when I was living on the mainland, I like Thai cuisine, and to my knowledge, they don't have a Thai store down here. Restaurant, where you go and get food. I love Thai food and certain Asian foods, but they don't have a Thai restaurant down here. Yeah, so, but otherwise, with the cultures and so forth, so that's not a good idea. If you're from Thailand or whatever and you really good at cooking, I think that's a good idea to open up a Thai restaurant, something that we don't have down here, so I could get some food. Yeah. So moving on, besides the diversity of cultures and so forth, chances are wherever you're from, you might actually meet one person who's from whatever remote part of the world you're actually from. And that'll be cool. Because as I said, we have a lot of diverse cultures right here in the US Virgin Islands, people from all over the world. Moving on to the next con, cost of living and gas, groceries, and rent. I'm kind of bundling that all together. As I mentioned on my last video, cost of living is pretty high, including like for the groceries and so forth. You'll most likely be getting sticker shock when you find out the cost of something that you pay for down here compared to on the US mainland. It costs a lot of money to buy just a basic mayo. A basic bottle of mayo costs like $7 down here. Milk costs a lot per gallon. Oh, cornflakes. Don't talk about corn. I don't even eat cornflakes anymore. But that's a whole nother subject. But a box of cornflakes, a small little box of cornflakes, costs about $9. I'm talking the US. Because we don't deal in no EC dollars here. We're talking about US dollars. US. All right, rent, groceries, as I mentioned, living, just gas, even gas for your car. The average price for gas right now is $3 for regular and about $4 for the 93. And the in-between is about half of that, $3.50 for the medium grade gas. So you can kind of get a gist of, once again, cost of living being a con of living down here in the Virgin Islands. Going back to the next pro, we're going to talk about, down here is tax-free. Well, you could just say that. If you have a business and you have 10 or more employees, I believe, and a couple other stipulations, you can join the EDA in becoming a business that's an EDC business. They do have tax-free, 100% tax-free basically, and you're supposed to give back, I think, at least $100,000 into the VI economy as one of the stipulations of getting that deal. I think you have to be in business also at least a year and have a track record and so forth, proving how you can be of benefit to the Virgin Islands. In terms of personal tax, we don't pay tax. Like when you go to the counter, you're not paying any, you don't have to take out any extra money out of your wallet to pay for the taxes. The taxes are kind of already built in, and it's kind of, I guess, the merchant or whatever kind of builds that into the price of what you're purchasing already. So you don't have to worry about that. And in terms of taxes, we are a territory, so we don't pay, we pay, basically it's all into one. It's all lump sum into one. So there's only one set of taxes coming out. I think it comes up under the line of state taxes, and that money based on being a territory comes all back to us at the end of the year, back into the U.S. Virgin Islands economy. So there's no federal taxes. There's just basically state or local tax, which you would pay to the U.S. Virgin Islands government. That's just one less line of deductions on your paycheck down here. And that comes because, as I said, the ratio of cost of living to what you're making most times is very slim, and probably even under. You're making more than you're actually having to pay to live. But we're moving on. The next con would be natural disasters. Being on an island, we get hit by, well, earthquakes. We have never had a major earthquake, but being on the geographical area that we live in, we are prone to earthquakes, which can lead to tidal waves because we're surrounded by water. Once again, the last major earthquake was back in 1869, 67, 68, somewhere around there. Don't quote me, I'll put the right date down on the bottom. And it was a total wipe over all the boats and so forth in the harbor. It occurred in the Charlotte Amalie Harbor. And then there was also loss of life because people saw fish and stuff like that. I heard, of course, I wasn't anywhere around, nor anyone that I know, unless he's a ducky or ghost. But I heard people went out into the water picking up fish and stuff like that, and before you know it, unawares, the water came back in and whoosh, there was loss of life. So hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. They are saying that we are overdue for tsunami anytime soon. We do have the tsunami warnings, so there are ways that you can get text updates and so forth from the local, I guess, FEMA, which is called, the local version of FEMA, which is Vitima. You could get text alerts and so forth if you have the app on your phone. So I'll probably put that up there as well. And of course we have hurricanes and so forth which blow through here. And that's about it. Actually, it's not much of a con. You could prepare with a hurricane. You do have time to prepare and so forth, so you will know that it's coming, and you can batten down your house and sit and ride out the storm. Most of the houses, as I mentioned, are up to code, especially since the 2 back-to-back Category 5 hurricanes that we went through. Most of those houses are up to code and will withstand a hurricane. So 9 times out of 10, you can stay in the house in which you live in and ride out the storm. The next plus is going to be food, in terms of, as I was mentioning earlier, with the diversity of the culture that we have here, the food is the bomb. I think that might be another reason why I like St. Croix so much. Man, St. Croix is the true melting pot of the VI. Because they have some of the best food. We have the Hispanic people over there, you know what I'm saying? And people from Trinidad and so forth. The main reason I found out that happened is because there is an oil refinery over in St. Croix, and people move from the different islands to go to St. Croix to get work at the oil refinery. So that's why we have that melting pot over there. And man, they brought their recipes and they mixed it up and everything like that, man. So in terms of getting food, man, St. Croix is a place to be. I mean, and it have everything for your palate. Whatever your palate is, they have that food over there, man. And over here in St. Thomas as well, the food is the bomb. I'm getting ready to do some food videos so you can know some of the food trucks and so forth to check out on the island. When you come visit, you would have at least every day, even for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you have some place you know you can go to and try out their food, and let us know. Give us a thumbs up or put a comment at the bottom of that video to let us know which one out of the ones I mentioned was going to be the best place that you have eaten at that I recommended you go to.